Hi, I'm Bill Cooper. Welcome to Outside Again Adventures. Missouri's deer season starts tomorrow, and I'm camped out deep in National Forest land in southern Missouri. Deer hunting is Missouri's most popular hunting sport. Tomorrow is opening day, and there will be several 100,000 hunters out in the forests and fields looking for white-tailed deer. We have a couple million acres of U.S. Forest Service lands in southern Missouri, and it's just like the land behind me here. It's wild and open to the public. In fact, all but the areas right around buildings and campgrounds and that sort of thing is open to hunting. And the great thing is you can drive out into these areas and find a space all to yourself. I'm off of a county road, and I came in this Forest Service road, which is a fire lane, about 2 miles. I haven't seen anybody, and I've got probably several thousand acres here that I can hunt by myself. And I'm camped out tonight all by myself, and I'm ready to get up early in the morning and try to get a whitetail buck. Camping out in the fall like this is great fun. The heat of summer is gone, the bugs are gone, the leaves are off. You can see through the forest for a long ways and see sights that you can't see when the leaves are on. And it's so peaceful out here. I don't hear a truck, no kind of noise, no people, no telephones. I'm getting relaxed. Everybody knows that food tastes better outside. When you're camping out for an extended stay for a weekend or several days, make sure you eat good food. So often people become sick because they eat just too much junk food while they're out. And it's not difficult to prepare some meals ahead of time that you can warm up over a campfire or a camp stove. I'm having a beef stew this evening, and it's good at home, but it's even better out here. I often hear people say that they don't camp out because it takes so much equipment, but you can do a basic camp out with relatively a small amount of equipment. Tents are pretty cheap these days. A lot of companies make them, and they're pretty water resistant and waterproof in some cases. But you need a tent, you need something to sleep in, a sleeping bag, and most people like some kind of a pad under that bag. I'm old enough, I like to have a cot, and I utilize that. But cooking equipment can be kept very simple. When I'm by myself, or even with 2 or 3 guys, I still use a Coleman backpacking stove. You can cook whole meals on these little stoves and fairly quickly in just a few little pots and pans and dishes, and you're in business. But of course you can get a lot more extravagant. Like anything else, you can spend as much money as you want to, but for a simple camp out, it doesn't take much. It has been a gorgeous day in the Missouri Ozarks. It's just a day before our firearms deer season starts. I've been out in the woods all day long, found a campsite, walked around some, looked for some deer signs, saw quite a bit of deer sign, even saw one pretty decent buck not too far from where I'm camped. And I'm way out in the middle of nowhere. I kind of hope some other hunters come into the outside fringes of this area. Maybe they'll push some bucks to me. Well, it's getting down towards dark, starting to cool up just a little bit. It's probably 45 or 50 degrees. I keep scooting a little bit closer to the campfire. That's one of the nice things about camping in the fall is a campfire. Everybody loves a campfire, particularly on a cool evening. Well, there's one universal phenomenon about campfires. The smoke's always in your face. It'll be totally dark in another 20 or 30 minutes. But I just heard the first owl of the evening. There's a lot of barred owls in this part of the country, and they're really fun to listen to in the evening. A lot of times several of them will get to calling. They sound like a bunch of monkeys laughing. If you've never heard that, you're missing out. You need to get out in our Missouri woods and listen to a barred owl. Fall is my favorite time to camp out. It's quiet out here. You can hear a pin drop, but not a sound of any kind. And it's cool, about 45 degrees. There are no bugs like you have in the summertime, and the leaves are off. You can see you got great vistas out across these hills, and there's nobody out here. Everybody camps in the summertime. This is the absolute best time of the year to camp out. And an 8x10 tent is perfect for 1 or 2 people. I use it even when I'm by myself because it's got room for a cot, all my gear, And I've still got a good sized walk space right down the middle. Perfect. I've been out deer hunting about 3 hours this morning. Didn't have any luck this morning, but there's a storm brewing, so I hustled back to camp. I'm cooking a quick breakfast, having sausage patties, fried potatoes with onions, and eggs, and a good hot cup of coffee. There's nothing better in deer camp than fried potatoes with onions and a lot of black pepper. Fried eggs with lots of pepper are darn good too. Now there's a great deer camp meal. Sausage, fried potatoes and onions, eggs, and a hot cup of coffee. Well, what a gorgeous evening to be camping out. The sun's just going down in the west. A big old full moon's coming up in the east. And the wind has finally calmed down. It's been gusting from 20 to 30 miles an hour for the last 3 days. It's made it difficult deer hunting. I did see a couple of does just behind camp here late yesterday evening. Had a small buck chasing them, but I decided to pass up on him. And today all I saw was one yearling doe, but it's been extremely windy and difficult to hunt. But tonight, the wind has stopped. The temperature is supposed to drop down into the low 30s, so I expect tomorrow to be a much better deer hunting day here in the Ozark Mountains. This has been a great experience deer hunting here in the National Forest of Southern Missouri. I've been hunting for 2 days and have not seen another hunter while I've actually been out hunting. There were a couple of people who came down this logging road on four-wheelers today, but that's all people I have seen. And I'm hunting under totally natural conditions. There are no food plots out here, no green fields, no high fences. And it's a lot of fun to try to figure the deer out. And I've about done that. I've found some trails and some saddles where deer cross. And I hope to get on a buck tomorrow. The weather's going to change and things are looking up. I love to camp out in a tent. And I've had this old Coleman tent here for going on 20 years. And a few tips to help you extend the life of a tent. You know, you take care of your tent, it'll take care of you. One of the main things you want to do is when you get through camping and you go home, so often people throw their tents in the garage and take them out the next time and use them, then they're mildewed. Set your tent up or hang it up and allow it to air dry. There'll be moisture in there and you need to get it out because it will ruin the stitching very quickly. And speaking of the stitching, I waterproof the stitching in my tent once a year, and that helps extend the life of the tent. Also, when you go to pitch your tent, be sure and put a ground cloth underneath that protects the floor. And those are just 3 or 4 things that you can do to extend the life of a tent, and they'll last you a very long time. It seems like I spend more time cooking and eating when I'm camped out or on a hunting trip, but that's okay. There's nothing more fun than having a good meal outdoors and enjoying a good campfire. Now that's a gorgeous sight. A big steak grilling over an open fire at deer camp. This mix is getting better all the time. That's baked apples on the side, and there are potatoes sliced up with onion wedges wrapped in tin foil down in the coals cooking. They'll be done in another 5 minutes. Yeah, I know if I'd spend as much time hunting as I do cooking, I might actually kill a deer, but who can argue with steak on the grill, potatoes in the coal? It's going to be a fine meal. You tell me it gets any better than that. Grilled steak, baked potatoes and onions, and baked apples. Now, here's some leftover steak fingers, which I will slice up and warm up tomorrow morning for breakfast. Also have leftover potato and onion and a grilled apple. So, looking forward to a good breakfast tomorrow morning. It's day 4 of my hunt here in the Mark Twain National Forest in southern Missouri. Sun's coming up behind me. It's a lot colder this morning, down in the low 30s, so I'm hoping that's going to make the deer move a little bit more. Didn't see anything yesterday, so it was kind of tough. Did see some more wild turkeys though, but hey, got my fingers crossed for today. I'm walking along this old logging road through the forest, and These are good places to check for scrapes that bucks have made on the ground. This is kind of a calling sign. They'll urinate in it. Does will come along, urinate in it, and then they walk through it, and the bucks track them like that. But these logging roads are great because there's lots of overhanging branches that are low enough for bucks to reach and rub their eye glands on. And these are great calling signs, and it lets you know that there are bucks in the area. I think I'm going to be a stump sitter today. One of the disadvantages of hunting in these big hills, if you sit down on the ground, you often can't see very far down over the hill, but I can see all 80 yards to my left and to my right, about 40 yards downhill, and a good 75 yards to the back. So that's about as far as you can expect to see in these dense woods when you're sitting on the ground. There's rubs like this all along this road. This is made obviously by a small buck, but at least there's deer in the area. I'm standing in a low spot between kind of two high points. These areas are called saddles. There's a ravine on one side, a ravine on the other side, and deer will often cross in these low spots. So for the last 4 days I've been hunting on these saddles quite a bit, and I've seen 2 or 3 deer, but I just haven't been able to get a shot. As you can see, the woods are very thick, so the deer's got to be pretty close to get a shot. Boy, last meals in camp are tough. It's always tough to shut a camp down, but I've had my fun. It's about time to come head for home. But last meal I'm cooking, steak, fried potatoes. These are baked potatoes left over from last night, some leftover steak. Add a few eggs. This is going to make a great last camp meal. Y'all, what's y'all's name now? Griffiths?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Joe and Debbie.
Joe and Debbie Griffiths stopped by to have breakfast with me. Not often I get company out in a deer camp.
No?
And you guys live locally here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We live in Salem.
In Salem.